Well, what's up, everybody? This is the first installation of the weekly golf preview we're going to do here on the Sports 2.0 network. I came on once for a Masters preview, so we decided to go ahead and make this a Wednesday night special, so everybody can get their bets in before the Thursday matches. This week is the Charles Schwab Challenge in Fort Worth, Texas. But first, we got to talk about Brooks and Bryson. That's been all the news since Sunday night and Monday morning when the video on Twitter came out of Brooks kind of rolling his eyes and not wanting to deal with Bryson's crap.
Right. I think this has been maybe a long time coming. This wasn't just a one-time thing, and I think Brooks just got caught in the moment, especially with that being in the interview there, and then to him not even to deny that it's Bryson because it's just obvious. Is very funny. So props to the TV producer who got a hold of that clip and
seriously,
put it out into the world, because I'm sure there's been a bunch like that before that we've never seen before.
Definitely.
And it's nice that this has kind of started a whole thing, because it's kind of taken a life of its own over the past 24 hours. Also,
props to the people who are in charge of the match. They announced today that they're going to have another version of the match. It's going to be Phil and Tom Brady again, but this time it's Bryson and Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if they had it planned for today, but they went ahead and posted that, and people went running with that. People were tweeting. Tom Brady tweeted a hilarious meme about Aaron Rodgers having to play with Bryson, and Brooks tweeted, "Sorry, bro," to Aaron Rodgers on Twitter, and that kind of started it all today. And I'm just hoping that the U.S. Open guys have enough gusto to pair them together, because, man, Brooks hasn't won any part of playing with Bryson, and that's how this whole thing got started, was the slow play accusations from Brooks that are definitely true. But
right. I think that as much as it's getting played up and it's kind of becoming a little bit of a joke between the two, if you put them in the heat of the moment in an actual major like that, and where the golf results really matter, I think we'll see some real tension. This tension right now we're seeing on Twitter is a little bit played up, right? It might have something to do with the player impact program, always wanting to be out there on social media, get followers and interactions, all that stuff. But if it starts affecting Brooks's play, I think we'll see a different side of this that might be a little darker than what we're seeing now.
Yeah, I think the player impact payments, that's interesting. That's a lot of money on the line, and I think both of them are probably playing this up, maybe with that in the back of their mind. It's good for golf to be on Twitter all day, and Tom Brady and Phil and everybody tweeting about it. I think it's good, and I agree with what you're saying that if you remember at the Open, the U.S. Open. It was the Open, because Brooks was playing with JB Holmes, who shot like 84 and is the slowest player on earth. And we got like 40 eye rolls and
you're right.
And like brush offs all day. So if they put them together and with real stakes, that would be fun as hell.
Yeah, I want to see how that kind of plays out. If you pay attention to Bryson's social media, especially the videos that he posts, you can tell that Bryson likes his attention, and Bryson also likes his money. He shows that, and it is how unaware he can be about what's going on around him. He's always very, very keen and tied in on what's happening with himself. And if he can kind of push that boundary of not only being dominant on the course, but also being dominant on social platforms, like he's kind of trying to now. He's not good at it, but he's almost so bad at it that he's good.
That is correct.
Right.
He's like those Francesa tweets when Francesa has no idea, but he gets so much play that it doesn't matter. I mean, Bryson he might be the least self-aware person on social media, but it's making him oodles of money, I think.
I watch it to then go and make fun of him.
Yeah.
But he thinks he's watching it for the view. He thinks that people are watching it to watch him because they like it. It's so strange, but it works. And if we get to the end of the year and Bryson and Brooks are both in the top 3, top 5 of this player impact program, it's not going to be by mistake.
Yeah, it's going to open some other eyes. Well, let's move on to the actual tournament this week. Oh, big shouts to Phil, oldest major winner ever last week. That was
Incredible.
Relatively unexpected. I can't say that I loved it with the Brooks ticket in my hand, but sometimes that happens. But
yeah, we've just a little insight into our past. We've faded Phil a good amount of times in the recent year or so
successfully,
and we didn't this week. Maybe because there was none offered on the books that we were using.
Definitely.
But we're lucky because he came through and won a major. That was an unbelievable performance. To have Brooks in the mix, and then to have him in the mix and then play into the Bryson thing, it was just a huge weekend, and more eyeballs is always good.
Yeah. Well, this week, Colonial Country Club in Fort Worth, super old course. They've been going there for like 80 years. And the course plays like an old course. It's tree lined, it's short, it's tight. There's lots of dog legs. The greens are tiny. There's specific types of players we're going to be looking at this week based solely on the course. It's Parkland style. You got to find the fairway with all the trees and the tight fairways and the dog legs. You're going to have to be on the right side of the fairway on some of these holes even. So we're looking for guys who can get it in the grass, get it in the short grass and hit the tiny greens. So we're talking iron players. And then like Grant's going to talk about in a minute, the guys who have done well here, if you look at past leaderboards, there's a lot of good putters also. So, I'm taking a look at it. I'm looking at the strong iron players with a lean towards the guys who also putt well from that group, or at least guys who can get hot with the putter.
Yeah, we're back on bent grass greens, which is kind of fun because bent grass has always been something that it's pretty strong as far as how guys perform. Like if you're not a good putter here, they don't always perform that well. But if you are, you do. And putting is inherently streaky, but for some reason, this type of grass, you just it likes certain guys, and certain guys have a better time reading it.
Yeah, I mean, the putting splits for certain guys are big, like the POA, especially the POA putter. There are certain guys who always putt well in POA, but the bent grass is a little bit different. I think that more people are in play as far as good putting, but I like the Texas guys. And when we're in Texas courses have a certain feel and maneuver to them, and I like guys from Texas. You'll see that at some point. Yeah,
these guys are comfortable, especially if you went to college there, if you grew up there. There's something about being in that heat, being on that type of grass. And if you get back there and you feel comfortable, that's the one thing that could trigger some confidence that can really help your golf swing because, as we both know and other players that maybe watch the show, confidence is almost half the battle. So
it's not almost, it's more than half the battle. If you look year over year, there's definitely guys who tend to succeed over and over and over again in Texas. So I'm definitely going to be looking at that. Tanner, I see your question. I'm taking Brooks, although Bryson's bigger. Brooks is a little bit scrappier.
Bryson doesn't seem like somebody who could scrap. You never know. He might be, just the way he's somebody who might need to train for 2 years before he does something like that. But in the heat of the moment, I'm going Brooks.
Yes. All right. Well, let's talk about some outrights. I like the board this week. There's some really good players. The field's pretty good. The middle class of players, I think they're a little mispriced. They might be a little too short, but the 20 to 40 range, I think there's some really nice value there. Who do you like?
Yeah, just before I give out my first one, the 4 last winners, Daniel Berger, Kevin Na, Justin Rose, and Kisner. So like we said, we're looking for guys who can hit irons and also putt. There's some guys in there who can really make putts. And then top finishers in the past year, specifically the guy who got 3rd place last year, Jason Kokrak, 33-1. He's going to be my first outright this week. Jason Kokrak is a very streaky putter, and he's on a little bit of a hot streak right now. He's gained over 3 strokes putting in his last 5 of last 7 events. Like I said, he finished 3rd here last year, and pair that all with being ranked number 2 in the last 24 rounds of stroke gain putting on bent greens specifically. So I like his putting game, and if we can get those putts to fall, I think we'll be fine. He's made 10 straight cuts coming into this event, including 4 top 15s within those made cuts. And if we can keep it in the fairway, like we said, not in the trees, not in the rough, I think Jason Kokrak will have a chance to get himself a win.
Yeah, I like Coke this week. I'll probably be on him in a top 20 fashion for sure. My favorite guy this week, and I just checked, his odds have dropped, which I'm glad I put some bets in last night. Joaquin Niemann, he's at 22 now. I'm positive you could have got him at 30 on Monday. But like Kokrak, he is playing maybe the best golf of his career. 18 straight cuts made and 11 top 25s out of 18 cuts. He's had some really nice finishes earlier this year, and he fits perfect for what we're looking for. He's a really, really good iron player. He's 12th in strokes gained off the tee and approach over the last 36 rounds. Off the tee stuff might matter quite as much here, but I still like the fact that when he on the holes you can get it out there, he's going to take advantage of it. And beyond that, bent is his best putting surface. He's not exactly a lights out putter, but he has been good recently. He's 12th or he's 16th in strokes gained putting over the last 36 rounds. Guys in this field, that's honestly higher than I would have expected for him. So he's on a nice run here. 22, I like it. I don't love it as much as I did 28, but shop around. That's one book. I'm sure you can find him at 25, 28, 30, maybe even some places.
Yeah, and I haven't looked at the pairings yet, but his buddy Sergio is playing this week, so maybe if him and Sergio can get it going, that'll keep him a little bit more comfortable.
I'd like Sergio to miss the cut that way in case Neiman gets in a playoff like in Hawaii. Right. They don't sit around, sipping margs there while he waits to play the playoff, and maybe he goes to the range this time.
Yes, see. I remember him getting almost too comfortable in that playoff.
Yes.
Okay, I have an interesting one here. This is a little bit farther down the board than I'm used to. But I like the top 6 each way on this player. And you can get that at 20-1 on the top 6 places because his outright number is 100. And that's Joel Dahmen. Joel Dahmen has 2 top 20s in his last 3 starts here at this event. And this is a specific stat coming up. He's the top 3 in strokes gained tee to green on short courses with specific bent grass greens. And this is only data from 2020. And it's like 4 courses. It's Greenbrier, 4 events, Greenbrier, Shriners, last year's Charles Schwab, last year's PGA, all short tracks for you. And the other 2 players that are with him in the top 3 are Justin Thomas and Tony Finau, 2 absolute super studs. So he's doing something right on these short tracks. If we can get a little bit of a turnaround on this putter, which is pretty much like everyone, right? If we can just find the little bit of a blimp or a streak in his putter, Joel Dahmen finishing in the top 6 at 20-1 on your each way, it would be amazing. And then you always have that backup if he wins for 100-1. And who doesn't like 100-1s?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Dahmen is a streaky putter, but I mean, every one of these guys we're talking about, they're going to have to putt good to win. Right. Putting's hard to predict, but you're not going to win this tournament if you don't putt pretty good. Like we saw Kevin Na, I'm pretty sure he just made every single putt he looked at for the entire week when he won. So, I mean, you're always looking for a hot putter. The other guy that I like, and his number is also crept down a little bit, is Charlie Hoffman, 35-1. Hoffman's also on a super, super hot streak. He's got 7 top 20s in his last 9 starts, including a second the last time they played in Texas a few weeks ago. He's lighting it up. He's 6th in strokes gained approach over the last 36 rounds, 4th in opportunities gained, and in 6 of his last 7, he's gained at least 4.8 strokes on approach, which is that's a big number. He's gained putting in 4 of his last 6. He's more of a streaky guy like Dahmen, where I'm not blanding because he's a consistently good putter, but he's definitely got it in his bag. He can get crazy hot. He would be a guy I'd look at for like first round leader too if he's going off early, just because he has those 7, 8, 9 under rounds in his bag, when he gets it going. Plus, he's got a super strong Texas record. He's got 5 top 25s at Colonial, 35-1, and in such good form. I'll take Charlie Hoffman. Plus, he's got a little bit of winning pedigree. I think he's got a couple wins on tour, whereas some of these other guys don't have the winning pedigree.
Right, and we just saw Joel Dahmen's winning pedigree about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago.
And about 40-mile-an-hour winds on the on the island.
So if he could do it again, that'd be great. But like I said, I want to add that each way to mine, just make that specific, because if he's in the mix, I want to make sure everybody's covered.
Yeah. So derivative bets. I got one that I absolutely love. If you've read my article for the last few months, his name's on there every single week, and the books just keep giving it to us. Zalatoris, top 10, plus 250. He paid out another top 20 last week at the PGA. He's first in strokes gained approach, no matter how you sort it. He's been the best iron player on tour. I'm not saying he's better than Morikawa or JT, but the statistics say that he is. So, plus he grew up in Texas. He's a Texas guy. He should be ready to go, and his floor is just so high at this point. He's got, I think, 17 top 25s and like 25 starts on tour. It's kind of crazy at this point. So top 10 plus 250 in a nice field, but not super strong. He's definitely one of the best players in this field. I like that number.
I really like this pick, and the same reason I like mine coming up, because he needs to get a win. He doesn't absolutely need it, but as a guy of his caliber, to get in those next events, he's going to have to get a win, and he's more than capable. He's a stud, and
he just has to get the putter going the right way for 2 rounds, basically.
Right. He's got to lock that putter in his forearm and then just try to put it in the hole. But Zalatoris is a stud, and he keeps cashing bets for us. I wouldn't be surprised if we come Sunday and we're thinking about him, being first.
Yeah, he needs to win to get in the FedEx Cup playoffs, which is kind of crazy considering he's like, I think he'd be in the top 15 in total points at this point if he were eligible. So, love Zalatoris.
Yeah, same type of bet for mine. I have a plus 200 bet on a top 10 for Corey Connors. You don't have to say much about Corey Connors if you watch golf week to week. He is on an unbelievable hot streak, a career hot streak for him. In his 2 top 20s in his last 3 starts here at this event, I'm going to continue to ride the streak that he's on. He has 16 straight events gaining on approach. It just seems like a no-brainer. I know, could it be right outside of the top 10? It could, but that's good value for a guy of his caliber coming into an event like this where the field is strong, but it's not crazy top heavy.
Yep. I've got a quick top 20 here. I like quite a bit. Matt Wallace. He's not a guy that I've bet a ton, but recently he's been playing some really nice golf since he came over. He's got 3 top 20s in his 3 top 20s in his last 5 and a 34th at the Masters. He's a good iron player, and he's gained putting his last 3. I like him. I like him to keep it up. Plus, Bent's is one of his better putting surfaces. He fits the mold as long as he can keep it in the fairway. Sometimes his driver can get a little iffy, but if he's smart, pulls out the 3-wood or the hybrid and gets it in the fairway. I like Matt Wallace a lot. Plus 200 too. 2-1 on a top 20 is pretty good.
Talk about discipline. I have Mr. Discipline coming up for you, Justin. Brian Harmon, top 20, plus 138.
No choice but be disciplined when you hit it 260.
He is a bent putter in the exact definition of a fairway finder. He's made the cut at this specific event every single year since 2014, including 5 top 25s. I expect him to be right up there. I'm not really into betting him to win the event, but he's clearly comfortable here. He's going to be in the fairway. He's going to have the angles. He's going to give himself the opportunity to hit these small greens. And if he can just sink some putts or play a little bit, he'll be fine.
Ryan, I see your 100 to 1. If I'm going down there, I want somebody who's won before, or somebody who I definitely think is going to win. Grant gave out Damon at 100. I like Damon. Carlos Ortiz at 100. Carlos Ortiz is, if I'm going to Texas to play golf, I want to play with Carlos Ortiz because he seems to kill Texas. He got a win in Texas last fall. He hasn't played great, but his putter can just get crazy, crazy hot, and he showed that he can win. That would be a guy that I would go down to 100 to 1.
Yeah, and he can really hit his irons. Like if he gets hot, he's up there with some of the best of them. He also played well. He played well here recently, right?
I think so. Yeah. His Texas form is really good. Matchups this week. We were talking about this pre-show. There's not much in the books that we're using here in Illinois. I think there's 14 matchups. I did find one that I will be betting. Kokrak over Rose. You talked about Kokrak already. We love Kokrak this week. He's in super, super good form. He's a really good Texas player, good at this event. Rose has just been really, really up and down. He's had a couple really good finishes recently, but they've been in the majors. I kind of think his focus is there and not so much on these other events. He has a good track record here, so fading him might be silly, but Rose's motivation, I think, is just not there for the non-majors, and his game has really not been in very good shape recently.
Yeah, I like it. I've already made my case for Kokrak. I'll be on that. And I have another one. Emiliano Grillo over Sung J M, plus 104. Plus 104 is a big part of this bet because not only do I like Grillo, but the plus money in a matchup is great because you can always get lucky and have the other guy not play well. Yep. In his last 24 rounds for the field, he ranks in the top 10 in strokes gained for approach, ball striking, greens in regulation, par fours that are short, so like anything below like 450 pretty much, which is a lot of these holes here where there's like where it stops and it dog legs real quick, and low proximity shots. We're talking wedges, 175, 150, 125, all in that range. I love Emiliano Grillo this week. His best putting surface is bent, and he's had 3 top 25s in his last 4 starts at this event. If you can give me that plus number against Sungjae, who doesn't really have anything that's coming out. I mean, he's been playing okay, but nothing that's going to push me over the top to say no. I love Grillo over Sungjae. Yeah,
Sungjae's game has just been pretty average. I was really, really onto him at the beginning of the year. I thought he was going to have a really strong year. He just hasn't been quite that good. So
right.
All right. Grant's got a Grant-specific bet section that he bets every week that I'm going to let him talk about.
Yeah, so the margins. This is a very fun golf bet. If you're looking to bet stuff that doesn't rely on players' performance, this is the way to go. It's the margin of victory in the tournament each week. So I've been doing this for, I don't know, probably all of last year and all of this year. And it doesn't hit every week, but it hits enough where you just keep covering and keep covering and keep covering. If you bet it every week, and that's what I do. And it's 1-stroke winner and 2-stroke winner. So the winner just has to win by 1 or 2. It can't be a playoff and it can't be 3, pretty much 3 or up. And 1-stroke winner is plus 250. 2-stroke winner is plus 350. So I usually put a good sized unit on each one. And if it just hits, which happens constantly, guys win by 1 or guys put in for birdie for 2. It's a really fun way to boost your earnings if you do have a really good tournament, and it keeps you interested the whole second round, even if you don't have a guy in the mix. I love it. I'm gonna be betting it every week. I'll recap it, and we're doing 1-stroke and 2-stroke this week.
Yeah, I got in on this 1 week. I lost, and I said I don't want to be the jinx. I'm just gonna let you make the money off of it. And I'll just watch, but
the odds have gone down since last year, though. It's still hitting, which is fine, and the returns are good. But the odds have moved a little bit. I think more people are jumping on it. If you want to be included, if you're viewing, you need to jump on it now because they might move even farther.
Yeah. If somehow we're connecting with a lot of people and the books are getting nailed, then they might move. But
never know.
I've got a section that I'm going to do every week. I'm going to call it the bad golfer I'm betting every week. I mean, this person is probably most of these people are going to be really good at golf, but tour standards, these guys are not good.
Not good players.
But I found one for this week that I like. Matt Neesmith. Matt Neesmith is the statistician's. Like everybody who looks at stats loves Matt Neesmith, and then Matt Neesmith finishes 40th every week. So Matt Neesmith is a ball striker. Like he's one of the top 15 ball strikers on tour. His irons are so good. He gains every week. He's gained like 10 out of his last 11. He just hasn't shown the ability to finish. His putting is not great. and his chipping is not great, but they're not horrible. Like there's guys who are way worse at those stats than him. So Neesmith is like plus 400 to top 20 this week. I like him on a top 20, top 30, top 40, whatever you would like. I would lean 30 or 40 just because, Neesmith tends to fade, and he doesn't always take advantage of his good iron shots, but his game is right there. If he can just make some more putts, I really like him on the short course too, because he's not a great driver in terms of distance. So a little shorter guy with really, really good irons is exactly what we're looking for this week. And if he rides a hot putter, I mean, he had a 7th place earlier, a 16th, and a 20th earlier this year, all in a row. And, if he gets hot with the putter, he can contend.
Yeah, that's an interesting name. I hadn't thought about him. I'm looking here on his name, and looks like he's good in the wind too. So you have a little bit of insurance there if the course gets kind of windy.
Yeah.
And being on a bent grass, because he's historically it's his best surface. I like that. Neesmith's a guy who you really like to bet, and then come Sunday he doesn't cash, but maybe we'll get a cash this week.
Yeah, don't go look at my my computer ledger and see my record play Neesmith, because it's probably not very good. But I like him. All right, best bet. Who you got?
I'm going to go right back to the well. Emiliano Grillo, top 20. I'm going to pair him with Brian Harman. It's 175. I got a little stat to mention that's paired with all the stuff that I said earlier. So of his last 4 starts, he's had 3 top 25s here. And last year he missed the cut, right? So that was the 3 were right before that. Though this event last year was the first event back from COVID. And it was the start of an unbelievably horrific stretch of putting for Grillo. So he clearly wasn't comfortable putting, or something messed him up with the huge weight of golfing, right? So I throw that out because it's clearly it was a huge stretch, and he was so bad. He's pretty much been neutral with his putter lately, and he's a good wind player. If he can stay neutral, keep the ball striking high like I talked about, I think Grillo top 20 he'll be right there.
Yeah, I like Gray a lot. I'll be on him for sure. My favorite bet this week, and my favorite bet every week, Will Zalatoris, top 20. They're giving us plus odds on Zalatoris again, top 20. He's had 18 starts on tour since the U.S. Open last year that he had qualified into via the Korn Ferry. Since then, he has 13 top 20s in 18 starts. 13. That's basically every single week. And they just keep giving it to us at plus money. He's playing in an area that he knows, he's familiar with, on a course that fits him perfectly. He can just hit it out there in the fairway and just take advantage of how good he is with his irons. And I like him being on the smaller greens. I think he gets into trouble on the really big greens because he's a really good iron player. So when he doesn't hit one great, he finds himself still on the green but 60 feet away. So right. I think he gets in trouble with his putter a little bit there. He puts too much pressure on himself. But I can't believe they're giving us plus money on him, especially in a field that's not a major championship quality field. Plus 120. Like I said earlier on the top 10, he's perfect for this course.
Much like I talked about on the margin bets, this has been a bet that you just do it. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts. Yeah. You just bet it. He's been amazing. And like you said, plus money, 100%, that bet will be on my card.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's all we've got. If I was a guy out there who was only going to bet maybe one bet the whole week of guys that we didn't mention, Morikawa would probably be the guy I went to. If I'm a casual person that's just, hey, I just want to put down some money on one or two guys. For me, I don't really like going down as low as Morikawa's prices this week. I think he's 14 or 16 to 1, but he got second here last year. This course sets up perfect for him. I love Morikawa, but I'm just not going that low. But if you're going to bet one guy, that would probably be where I would head.
He's going to be a safe bet to be on the TV on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah,
and that's what you want when you got outright, guys. You don't want to be done on Friday.
All right. Well, this was the first of many Wednesday betting previews. So we'll see you next week.
See you.